Welcome back, hockey fans. Tonight, we tell a story that carries heartbreak across arenas in America and living rooms across Britain. For American hockey fans, this is the end of an era. For British fans who follow the NHL faithfully into the early morning hours, this moment cuts just as deep. On December 15, 2024, Sidney Crosby, one of the greatest players to ever lace up skates, played what became his final NHL game. No script could have prepared the fans, the players, or Crosby himself for how the night would unfold. Greater than please like, share and subscribe for more NHL content. Alright, we're halfway through, and things are about to take a serious turn. If you thought you knew where this was going, think again, this is where the real drama unfolds. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. It began like any other night in Pittsburgh. The lights were bright, the anthem soared, and the American crowd roared in disbelief when Crosby's name echoed one final time. In London, Birmingham, and Glasgow, British NHL fans watching from afar felt the weight of history on their screens. But underneath the surface was a truth that chilled everyone. Crosby had been battling a hidden injury, one so severe it could no longer be ignored. His body, scarred from years of relentless play, finally demanded a price even his indomitable spirit could not pay. As the game went on, whispers spread through the press box. Analysts who had covered Crosby for decades exchanged nervous glances. Across the US, fans couldn't believe it. The captain was skating with the shadow of finality behind every stride. When the third period ended, and Crosby slowly raised his stick to the rafters, you could feel UK hockey culture holding its breath. It wasn't just about the scoreboard anymore. It was about grief, legacy, and the painful acceptance of goodbye. What made it even harder was the sense of betrayal, not from Crosby, but from the cruel nature of the game itself. Hockey, the sport that gave him everything, had taken just as much away. Years of concussions, surgeries, and unrelenting physical punishment left him no choice. In the locker room, teammates tried to hide their tears. Reporters described the silence as suffocating, broken only by the sound of sticks tapping the floor in respect. The sanctuary of brotherhood felt shattered, as though everyone knew they were living through the death of an era. For fans in America, the grief hit home immediately. They had grown up with Crosby, celebrated his Stanley Cups, and leaned on his leadership through countless storms. In Britain, the fans who stayed up past midnight year after year felt the heartbreak ripple across oceans. Tributes began pouring in that very night. Jerseys draped over arena seats, candles lit outside the rink, and social media flooded with stories of what Crosby meant to families. It wasn't just about hockey, it was about memories, about fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, staying awake together to watch greatness unfold. And yet, behind the tributes, there were deeper stories, of how Crosby carried hidden battles off the ice. Friends spoke of sleepless nights, of painkillers used to numb chronic agony, of the loneliness that came with being a symbol rather than a man. American hockey fans felt the sting of those revelations. British NHL fans, too, understood that they hadn't just lost a player, they had glimpsed the human suffering beneath the helmet, the price of greatness that no one wants to acknowledge until it's too late. Then came the press conference. Cameras flashed, voices cracked, and Crosby stood before the world, admitting that his time had ended. He spoke not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Still, the tears in his eyes told a deeper truth, that leaving was tearing him apart. The American crowd roared in applause, not because they were ready to let go, but because they knew they had no choice. British fans watching from London were stunned into silence, watching the chapter close in real time. What made this farewell even heavier was the timing. December, the season of family and togetherness, became the moment of loss. Across the US, families gathered around televisions, hugging tighter. In the UK, fans texted each other into the early hours, unable to believe what they had just seen. But hockey is never just about endings. It's also about legacy. Crosby's career is etched into history, his triumphs immortalized in banners, in rings, in memories passed from one generation to the next. And yet, this night reminded everyone that heroes are fragile. They are not machines built only to win, they are humans who break, bleed, and ultimately fade. That truth stung American hearts and left British fans reflecting on the true cost of devotion to the sport. The game moved on, as it always does. But nothing will erase the sight of Crosby raising his stick one final time, tears streaming down his face, as thousands wept with him. That image is burned into hockey's soul forever. For US fans, it is a memory that will be told to children who never saw him play. For UK fans, it is the story of why they stayed awake night after night, to witness greatness, even when it hurt. Sidney Crosby's departure was not just an ending. It was a mirror held up to the entire NHL, forcing everyone to see the physical and emotional toll hidden behind the glory. It forced fans to ask, how many more stars will we lose to the cruelty of the game before we learn? And yet, through the grief, one thing remains unshaken. Crosby gave everything. His loyalty, his sacrifice, his legacy, it belongs not just to Pittsburgh, not just to Canada, but to every fan who loved the game on both sides of the Atlantic. So tonight, whether you are an American hockey fan sitting in the arena or a British fan watching from your flat in London, remember this: greatness is fleeting, but love and loyalty endure. Crosby's final game may have ended in tears, but his legacy will echo forever in the hearts of those who believed in him. Because in the end, hockey is not about trophies or scandals. It's about sacrifice, memory, and the bond between player and fan. Sidney Crosby gave us that bond, and it will never be broken.